Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee and Tea with Justin and Tashina. Did I just interrupt you? Were you about to start talking?
I was, but it's fine. You go for it.
Sorry. I'm Tashina.
You're doing great.
This is Justin.
It's true.
And this is our podcast where we just sit down and chat about whatever comes to mind.
Literally whatever. I think this particular episode, it really exemplifies how there's just no structure.
No, none.
We're just hanging out, chatting it up.
Hanging out, having fun.
Chattanooga.
Yep. So
Tennessee.
today we talk about food. We talk about what I'm making us for breakfast.
Oh yeah, we talk about our visions for what each of us thinks makes the best breakfast sandwich.
Yes, which I would love to hear your thoughts on.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about some good pantry staple recipes that we make that are pretty versatile.
Oh yeah.
And then we talk about focusing on some of the little bits of good news that are out there right now.
We sure do.
I think and we kind of, as always, we meander around.
We took the scenic route.
Yeah, but that's what we do here. So hopefully
maybe this podcast should have been called The Scenic Route.
You had suggested that as a title.
Had I?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then you're like, I forget what you said, but something like, oh, that's too cheesy or something. But that was one of the titles you had suggested. And I was like, I really like that one. And you're like, nah. I don't like it anymore. I forget why. You're like, no thanks, no time.
Huh. Weird. Maybe because it sounds like travel. Maybe we should...
Yeah, that's what you said.
Maybe we should start a podcast once all this stuff is over and we can move around. Maybe we should start one called The Scenic Route.
I'd be into that.
Where we go visit somewhere and then we take a really long time to talk about it.
Yeah, and we take the scenic route with every pit stop and historic route, and we go see all the big balls of yarn and everything like that along the way.
How many big balls of yarn are there?
Well, I think there's only one where it's world's biggest ball of yarn, but I do think that would be enjoyable and fun.
I also think that would be enjoyable and fun.
Okay.
All right.
I'm glad.
Great. Good. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful to be here with you and this little fur baby that's sitting next to me.
That little mittens right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm grateful for the little things like that today.
Mm-hmm.
We're together.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I'm grateful that you set up this whole thing today.
Thank you. I didn't set up the whole thing. You helped.
That's true. But still, you did quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I am grateful that you did that.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Well, what do you think we should do now?
I think we should start the episode. Slight change of scenery today.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
We're in our living room.
We sure are.
Which I will say was also furnished by Article.
Yeah.
So if you go...
Not for this channel,
no,
but still.
For Logical Harmony. So if you go to the Logical Harmony channel and search living room tour, you can find out more about the pieces and articles there.
Yeah. I love it.
Me too. It's so comfy. We've had this for almost a year now.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's held up amazingly well.
Yeah. Well, we've done a good job of putting stuff on them to keep the cats from scratching.
Yeah.
But there's still been some snags. But one of the things I like about this fabric is that you can kind of thread it back through when there's a little snag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think we did a good job of training the cats not to scratch on it. And now it's not an issue. When they do snag, it's because they're running across it or something.
True.
They're playing. They're not trying to destroy it.
Very true.
So I made you tea this morning. Your
You.
usual.
Thanks.
And I'm drinking the same thing. Actually, I'm not having coffee yet.
Yeah, I saw that. That's weird. Why are you doing that?
So I woke up before you. And I didn't know, because you wanted to sleep in a little, I didn't know when you'd be getting up. So I felt like I would rather have tea than coffee. And then, I just haven't made coffee yet. I'm still drinking the cup of tea. So
Got it.
found out a fun fact for you.
A fun fact for me?
Yeah.
Tell me the fun fact you heard for me.
Okay.
Hi, Bagheera.
So obviously this would be a better fun fact if we had these drinks. But you know how with the coffee, the whipped coffee you're making, it gets all like, foamy?
No,
and you tried
what are you talking about?
the Dalgona coffee?
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Okay. So you had tried that with the Four Sigmatic matcha that we have, and it doesn't do anything. So
yeah, I mean, right.
Not in the same way.
Yeah.
So I looked into it. Instant coffee has gluten in it, and that is what causes the like foam.
Oh.
But matcha obviously doesn't, so you need to add like aquafaba in order to get it foamy.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was so fascinating. I didn't know that gluten factored into it. I didn't know instant coffee had gluten. Let's start there.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I guess I don't know that I looked at the ingredient list of the coffee.
Well, I don't think gluten is listed. I don't know.
No, but I mean, I just would have assumed that the ingredients for instant coffee would be coffee.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting that gluten is a factor
I wonder if it's just in the process of it being made into instant coffee, and so they don't have to disclose it as an ingredient.
Yeah, maybe it's like in the process of like it helps it bind together as
the crystallization.
Yeah. But I thought that was super interesting. So I did find some recipes where you can add aquafaba to make a matcha one. And I was thinking that might be fun to try.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
Because we have cans of chickpeas.
We sure do.
I'm always down to eat chickpea salad or whatever. We can make curry with them.
Before this, I would have made it today.
Well, so I thought about telling you before it, but then I thought it'd be fun to talk about on here.
Yeah.
So
well, we could have been talking about it while we're drinking them, but
tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow and we'll see how it goes and then we can share.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it works. Like I've never made whipped anything with aquafaba personally.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how much you need to whisk it. I don't know if it's as easy as the instant coffee.
Takes quite a bit of whisking. I would not describe it as a small amount of whisking. So
yeah, that's true. I made it the other day for myself because you usually make it for me, and I whisked it less.
How was that for you?
It was good. It blended in with the milk better.
Oh.
It was good. I like them both. They're just different.
Well, I'm never making it for you ever again.
No, make it for me. Make it for me. Mm-mm. You make it prettier and better. You also just have more patience with that stuff. I get to a certain point where I'm like, close enough.
Yeah.
Calling it good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Bagheera just came over here and he has his little bed. His bed on top of a bed. And he laid down. He's right off camera, but it's so cute.
His bed on top of a blanket on top of a blanket.
Sorry.
That's sometimes on top of his heating pad.
Yeah.
He's a very pampered cat, but he deserves it.
Does he?
Yeah.
All he does is scream all day.
But that's not his fault.
Okay.
It's not it's not his fault.
He's got some emotional trauma he's working through.
Yeah. This morning,
we're working through.
He 5 minutes before my alarm went off, I was already up, but he came in the bedroom yelling because he wanted breakfast.
Yeah.
And so I opened the window for him, and he loves the fresh air, and it was so cute to see his little upturned nose, and he smells really hard, so his whole body's kind of like getting into it. It's really cute.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
That's cute.
Okay. So tomorrow we'll try the matcha and see what happens.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be tasty?
I think it'll taste like matcha.
Okay. Well, and the Four Sigmatic one is more like gingery, I feel like.
It's a delightful blend.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't think it tastes like matcha in the same way. Like if you're just drinking regular matcha and you try the Four Sigmatic one, you're going to be like, whoa, this is gingery.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah. It's got a lot of ginger in it.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a nice citrusy kick to it, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, if you compare that to like the like special matcha that Kanako brings over from Tokyo that's like just for her family.
Yeah.
That I've been allowed to drink like twice, then yeah, I would say the Four Sigmatic is quite a ways away from that.
Yeah, if you're used to like grassy matcha, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, I don't know if it's picking up in the recording, but I can hear a lot of your hand movements on the mic.
Okay, I'll try and get more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
We've never just sat here and held these, and since I talk with my hands, I find myself like doing these subtle hand motions.
I think one thing that I'm trying to do that seems to be helping a little bit is to not grip it super hard, to kind of do like a looser grip.
Okay, let me try that.
Otherwise, your hand gets kind of like tired, and then you have to adjust it. But if you just do sort of like a loose grip, just enough to hold it, I think that helps.
Huh. All right, I'll give that a try. See how it goes.
Good luck.
I'm scared I'm going to drop it.
Well, don't hold it that loose.
My stomach's growling.
Okay.
Okay.
You should put your mic up to your stomach and get the growls.
No, I don't want to do that. Speaking of stomach growling, I'm going to make breakfast sandwiches this morning with the Buddhist chef tofu BLT. No, tofu bacon.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Tashina
it's really easy.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Tashina made it last night for dinner. And I put so much of it on my sandwich that I needed a fork.
Yeah. It's so good though.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's one of those like classic recipes. Oh, there's a tiny bird out on the tree. There's a few of them. Do you see him with his little black head?
No.
Oh, there's two of them. They're so cute. Anyway, that's one of my favorite things about right here is we have trees out there, and then these little finches come and hang out. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the Buddhist chef tofu bacon. He has a recipe for a tempeh one too that's good. I don't think it's as good. I like
tempeh bacon, and like tempeh just doesn't absorb flavor in the same way that tofu does.
Yeah, exactly. It maintains a lot of its own.
Yeah.
I think his is decent overall. You steam the tempeh in the sauce. And so I think that definitely helps it absorb more, but it still has that like nutty tempeh flavor. Whereas I feel like the tofu one, especially if you marinate it overnight.
Which you did.
Yeah, which I did. It absorbs so much flavor. And then I bake it a little longer than the recipe says to, because I want it to be a little more like caramelized. I don't think it doesn't get like crispy, but the maple syrup does caramelize around. I know. Are you hungry? I'm so hungry.
I'm not hungry at all. Actually, I'm still full from last night's sandwich, but it just sounds so good.
Yeah. So anyway, that got me thinking, because basically all the ingredients for it are things that most people, especially most vegans, have on hand, like nutritional yeast, maple syrup, liquid smoke. Not everyone does, but it's easy to get. It's easy to find online. What else is in it? Soy sauce. It's a super simple recipe. And
it's so good.
It's so good. And I feel like the marinade's really versatile. Well, for anything that you want to be sweet and smoky. But it got me thinking about other recipes that would be easy right now with like things people probably already have in their pantry that are also versatile.
Like what?
Like the Mary's Test Kitchen Kung Pao tofu. We made that the night before last.
Is that really stuff that people would have? Because generally we make it according to the recipe in regard to like the different soy sauces, the black vinegar.
Yeah.
And we've also made it with the substitutions. And I do not feel like it's anywhere close to being as good with the substitutions.
The subs, yeah, they're not quite as good. So you could sub like balsamic vinegar for the black vinegar. I've made it before just using more regular soy sauce instead of adding in dark soy sauce, because there's only a little bit of that in it.
Yeah.
It's not as good, but it works, I think.
Yeah, I guess we should also note that if you cook a lot of, I guess, like foods that would use different soy sauces and black vinegars, and I guess the dish is originally Chinese.
I think so.
So if you cook a lot of like Chinese foods, then yeah, you might have this stuff in your pantry.
Yeah.
But if you're like us who grew up not knowing how to cook any of that.
Yeah.
Then we had to, some of it we've ordered online, some of it we've gotten it like, not even just like specifically Asian markets, although that's where we started buying them from, but like even out here, there's a co-op.
Yeah, they always have it.
Yeah, a lot of these ingredients. So it's hard to say whether these would really be considered hard to find or whether it's just that we've lived in places where we didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
And or like, at least for me, the main cultures were like white, if you can call white people a culture, and I should say white Americans, and then like Mexicans and more like South and Central Americans. So it wasn't, you know, like there's a Mexican market where you can go and get all this stuff that, you know, ingredients that my grandma would use that might otherwise be difficult to find. But there wasn't, and still is not, an Asian market.
Yeah, when we were in Napa, it was hard to find the ingredients.
Right. We had to drive to Fairfield.
Yeah, well, I ordered them online too.
Yeah.
I do think, though, it is worth ordering because once you make it, you're going to want to keep making it.
Totally.
So I would suggest making those things pantry staples.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
Yeah, the sauce of the Kung Pao tofu is amazing. The recipe, like, the Kung Pao tofu is amazing, but you could use the sauce on other stuff, too.
And once you start using the different soy sauces and the black vinegar and you kind of get a vibe for those flavor profiles, then you can start putting them into other things that you may not have known were even missing them.
Yeah, totally. There's such good flavors. And we've made the Kung Pao tofu. So normally when we do it, we do tofu, like fried tofu, most of the time, not always fried. Broccoli and green onion.
Yeah.
But the other day we were
Sometimes we've done like sweet peas or snap peas.
Yeah. Those are really good too. Yeah. The other day we both really wanted it and we didn't have any tofu. So we made the sauce and we just did like regular onion, frozen broccoli, and frozen cauliflower. Yeah. Like white onion. Yeah. And it was really good still because the sauce is really good.
Yeah, totally.
So I think that's a good one just because it's really versatile. You could put it on like whatever vegetables you have, whatever you want to do. And then have it with like some rice or some quinoa and like you're set for a good meal. And the leftovers are amazing too. We always make extra, so we have leftovers.
I would say too, if you're going to take the time to fry the tofu, fry extra and then freeze it. Because even, you know, if you're not familiar, frying tofu or freezing tofu changes the texture as well. And the last time we did it, when we fried it and then we froze it, the texture of the tofu was so good.
The texture was really good, and I felt like it absorbed more of the sauce.
Yeah, totally.
Like into the tofu.
Well, because the freezing like pulls the moisture out of the tofu, right?
Yeah. I wonder what it would be like if we froze the tofu first.
In my experience, that tends to make it a little more crumbly.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could try it, but I find that it's more challenging to do in like a cube scenario if it's been frozen first.
That makes sense.
But it's also been a while since I've done it, so maybe I'm just... Because it kind of like... It's similar... I don't know if you remember when we watched that movie about the foods... It's like the foods that built America or something.
Oh, yeah, like that like mini-series thing about the cereals and everything.
Right, and they were talking about how frozen foods, especially frozen meats, were not popular.
Yeah.
Because the freezing process was so slow that it like basically the way that the water inside of the tissue of these dead animals, like it freezes in a way that makes like cuts it, and then when you defrost it, all the juice and all the flavor and everything comes out.
Ew.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. But anyway, I kind of think that that's what happens when you freeze the tofu is that it causes all these cuts and tears and stuff. And maybe that's why I feel like it's difficult then to cut it into like a nice cube and get it to be easy to fry.
That makes sense. That also explains why for the Mary's Test Kitchen fried chicken recipe, which we've not made yet, she has people double freeze their tofu. Like freeze it, thaw it out, then freeze it again, and then thaw it, and then use it. And so if it is making like cuts and shredding it kind of, that would makes complete sense why you would want to do that.
I wonder if we could do a mix of her two recipes and do a kung pao chicken with the tofu, the double frozen tofu.
Huh, that's a good idea. Because I want to try the double frozen fried anyway. She says to use medium tofu though, which I don't find. I see like soft, firm, extra firm, silken. So then I'm not really sure which would be the best to sub, but I'm sure she would have suggestions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if soft would be too soft or firm would be too firm. I don't know.
I should just ask her.
Yeah, I should. I should just ask her. Hi, applesauce.
She wants to cuddle with Bagheera so bad.
I know. Or does she want to kick him off the bed?
Ow, you little applesauce.
She's like, that's what you get for telling the world I want to cuddle with Bagheera.
Rude. You're very rude sometimes.
She's in a mood today. She's fussy.
Was Mama not giving you enough attention?
I got up and she wasn't ready to get out of bed. That's basically it.
I heard her run after you when you got up.
She did. But then she was very sleepy-eyed, staring at me. Huh? Is that true? She's like, where the heck is my chair? Bring my chair to me now. I demand my chair.
Jeez, and a space shuttle.
All right. It's not Filbert. I was telling Justin how in Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, one of the animals at my campsite requested a space shuttle, and it's a little squirrel named Filbert. And I was like, Filbert's so entitled. He wants a space shuttle. Like, what animal's like, hey, build me a space shuttle? So I kicked him out of my camp.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to indulge this space shuttle talk.
Wait, I thought you told me you were building him a space shuttle because you have like over $1 million. And it was only going to cost you $10,000.
Yeah. So then when I had more money, I was like, I kind of feel bad about kicking Filbert out. So I invited him back to the campsite and I built the space shuttle.
Oh, okay.
And he then gave me $5,000. So he paid for half of it.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, that was nice of him. But anyway, so now it's this joke in our house about like, they're asking for a space shuttle. Like, yep.
If you give a Filbert a space shuttle, he's going to want to
give you money. He has not asked me for anything since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool of him.
Yep. It's pretty funny.
He's like, look, I understand. This was a lot.
Yeah. I asked for a space shuttle. Could have asked for the animals, they have them ask for weird things at a certain point. So like one asked for a sports car. One asked for a harpsichord. One asked for an electric guitar. One asked for like a
they're
game.
Starting a band, obviously.
Yeah, one asked for a makeup box. Like, it's really weird. And whatever they ask for is always like $10,000 to $15,000. And so you're like, do I get enough out of having you at my campsite to want to spend $10,000 to $15,000? Not always. One of them asked for a bobsled.
Huh.
And now I don't remember which one it was. I built a bobsled anyway.
Interesting.
And then it just sits there.
They're not even using it now?
No.
Rude.
So rude. I built Filbert, the space shuttle. He didn't even get in the thing. He just ignored
I was gonna
it.
ask if he used it.
No. I mean, I don't know what would happen if they had the animals get in it in the game. I don't know. But he didn't touch it. He said thank you, and that was it. He just wanted it. He wanted it to have it.
I mean...
It's funny.
Yeah, he paid for half of it.
He did pay for half of it.
It's like, you do you.
It's just, again, and I know we've talked about this before here, but the idea that there are these conversations in some corporate office about these things is really funny to me.
Like, what should we name this squirrel? Let's name him Filbert.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of stuff is he interested in? Well, let's have him want a space shuttle.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he goes to space? No, he just stares at it.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. He just looked at it. He said thank you, looked at it, and then kept drinking his little cup of coffee.
I mean, at least he wasn't like, I changed my mind.
Give me a sports car.
Yeah, make me a Ferrari.
Yep, that's true.
We listened to a podcast we'd never listened to before yesterday.
Oh, yeah. What was it called?
Stuff you should know. Which I realize is like, if you're into podcasts, this is like, we're super late to the game.
Yeah.
People have been telling us to listen to it for years, I would say.
But I never took it seriously until Kyle suggested it.
Oh, I still didn't take it seriously.
Oh, when Kyle suggested it, I literally went and opened my podcast app and I subscribed. I hadn't listened to anything, but I was like, okay, if Kyle is suggesting this, I'll probably enjoy it, because Kyle and I both have that weird sense of humor.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
Huh. And the episode you put on last night was about...
It was about the lost Nazi treasure.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting title, because it wasn't so much Nazi anything as much as it was treasure that Nazis had stolen and pillaged from victims of their occupation and concentration camps. However, that's not a criticism on the podcast. I understand that that's kind of how it's known around the world. It's referred to as lost Nazi treasure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an interesting episode.
It was. There have been a few episodes of Expedition Unknown about different types of it. Mm-hmm. And so it was cool to hear them mention it, because on the podcast, they're doing like the 3-minute version. Whereas on Expedition Unknown, they've done like several hours over multiple episodes. Mm-hmm. So it was cool to be like, oh, I remember that, and like know this other backstory to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good episode. I found it very interesting. I liked their dynamic. One of the people talking reminded me of an actor, and I can't place who. But every time they would talk, I was like, oh, I feel like this sounds like this person. Huh. But I'll have to think about it and try and figure out
who the actor was?
No. Okay. I just kept thinking it was like someone else, and I was like, oh, but it's not. So would you listen to another episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I think it's just kind of part of who we are to be curious about how things work.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess it's kind of fun to relax and listen to something. Like I was doing it while I was cleaning the kitchen. Mm-hmm. You were playing Animal Crossing. But it's nice when you're just doing something to also sort of like still be mentally stimulated in some way and have something interesting to think about and learn, instead of just letting your brain melt away into nothingness. Yeah,
or watching The Office for the millionth time, which someone commented that they felt called out by that. I want to let you know we do that too.
What did they feel called out by?
It was on the main channel when I was doing in the 7 days of self-care, when I was saying like, watch something fun, watch something different. Don't just watch The Office for the millionth time. And someone was like, I feel so called out right now. Like, not in a mean way, but like, yeah. I don't know if they listen here, but
I doubt it. No one listens to this except for Shannon and Kelly and
Sharon.
Oh no.
You haven't had very much of your tea.
Yeah, I'm only halfway through my tea, Sharon. By the way, speaking of Sharon mentioned that you were right about the kombucha. She has the mother.
I knew it. I knew it was her.
So I don't know how I possibly... You know what? Did you respond to her comment when you saw it?
Probably not. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was trying to give myself a reason for why I didn't see it.
I mean, I might have. I really don't remember.
The way that we have our... I don't know why this is the default, but when we go into our back end of YouTube, it defaults to show you the comments that you've not yet replied to.
Yeah. Which can be helpful.
Yeah, it's super helpful. But it also means that if Tashina had replied to a comment and then I went in 5 minutes later, I wouldn't know that like I wouldn't even see the comment.
Yeah.
And because it's the default, I don't always think like, oh, I need to turn this off and see all these comments that we've replied to.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my out, was that you had replied to Sharon's comment. I'm so sorry, Sharon. Like Tashina said, I got out of bed, was very tired, very groggy. Tashina and I got in a big argument yesterday. So that's what I'm getting at is I was like, okay, we're never doing the podcast again. So
Yeah.
Not as like I'm taking this away from you as much as like I just feel so sad. I never want to do this ever again. I get like that sometimes. Anyway, so I guess I'm just trying to like justify that I called Sharon Shannon by saying that this morning we set up the whole thing in a whole other place and I was really tired and
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your brain's
is the
just
point.
not.
Yeah, that's the one. All my mental capacity has gone toward because I was so sad about the podcast that this morning Tashina was like, let's do a podcast, and I was like, whatever.
You're like, if you want.
Yeah, and then she was like, okay, well, can you get it set up? And I was like, no.
Yeah, you helped.
I was like, but I'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's my excuse, is that all my mental capacity has gone toward waking up and telling, sitting in this chair and telling somebody else how to set all this stuff up. So I'm sorry, Sharon. Please DM me about your kombucha mother and we'll talk about it.
I'm curious too.
Or I'll make a video about it, probably is more likely.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
How to care for your already growing kombucha mother. How to care for your secondhand kombucha mother. Your adopted kombucha mother. Yep.
Okay.
Bagheera keeps stretching and raising an arm up at you, and it's really cute.
Oh, Bagheera.
He's like, hey, pet me.
Oh, he's out.
Is he?
Oh, no. He's awake.
He's like, you said my name. I'm awake.
Food? Did somebody say food?
Yeah. There is a random piece of food in that bed with him. It's been there for a couple of days. I need to throw it away, but I don't know how it got there. And I'm like,
it's a treat.
Oh.
It looks like a treat.
What?
And my guess is that someone brought it over here to eat it and then was like, oh, this treat is disgusting.
Yeah.
And then didn't finish it.
The treats have brewer's yeast in them, which cats are supposed to love, but ours all hate it. Well, applesauce is iffy with it. If you give her a regular treat and then one of those, then she'll eat it.
You got to stop saying that word.
I know. She's getting all excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had these because they have melatonin in them. And back when Bagheera was not on his medication yet, that was when we got them.
True.
And they definitely have melatonin in them, I will say. So if you need to like simmer your cats down a little bit, it helps for sure.
Yeah, it's good for like, you know, if you live in an apartment like us and you have some maintenance people coming over or something, or you're going to have friends over.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Times it would be stressful for
avoid
them.
doing those things right now, but
yeah,
stressful times can help a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I totally sidetracked us though when I started talking about Sharon, whose name is Sharon.
Yeah.
And not Shannon.
Yeah. I forget what we were talking about though.
You were talking about how somebody felt called out about The Office.
Oh yeah.
And I was about to say, it's really all just context, right? Because in the context of that video you were doing, then yeah, watching The Office for the millionth time would not have been the best suggestion. But
yeah,
it's all context, right?
Yeah, totally. I realized too, okay, we don't have Hulu anymore. And most of those shows are on Hulu. And I was like, have we made a mistake?
Most of what shows?
Most of the shows I suggested in that video, because there's shows I like love and that we've watched a bunch.
No, you didn't make a mistake.
Okay. Some of them too you can buy on YouTube, which I don't know. It's a weird,
dumb.
Like Ghost Nation and Expedition Unknown, you can like buy on YouTube. And I was like, when did YouTube become this like service like that?
Not that long ago. I mean, kind of a while ago is actually what I meant to say.
Where you could buy one-off episodes like you do on Amazon?
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
I didn't know. I guess I've never tried to... I've tried to watch TV shows on there, but I've never tried to find like the actual thing.
I think the reason I knew it is because like if you do a Google search for like watch X movie or X TV show,
Okay.
then it'll come up with like boop, 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 you know, like all the little symbol like Amazon Prime, and it'll have a price underneath it. And YouTube tends to be one of those. By the way, also speaking of comments from audience members and friends, Tiffany, I don't know if y'all remember a while back when we talked about Tiffany, and I was saying we have this audio only version, so Tiff can now listen to it while she walks her dog Bella.
Bella's so cute.
And then I made a comment about how, I don't know though, maybe Tiff is fancy and she has YouTube Premium. And then she commented and said, I am fancy. I do have YouTube Premium.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Tiff, so fancy.
So fancy.
So what else did you want to talk about today?
Okay, let me look at my list.
Oh, you have a list?
Yeah, I told you.
While you're checking that, I'm going to see.
I'm checking it twice.
Oh,
Get out of here.
I wasn't.
Don't look at it.
I wasn't.
I'm going to add you to the naughty list. I saw
don't
you.
Care at all. That's fine. Do it.
Okay. So,
Oh,
this is a good one.
Okay.
Okay. So we talked about how I'm making the Buddhist chef tofu bacon.
Yep.
Because we're going to make breakfast BLTs with it.
Yep.
So, Bagheera, why are you smelling the chair? My topic, and this is also, I think it's a good topic because I'm very hungry. What makes a good breakfast sandwich? Like your dream breakfast sandwich. For me, this is perfect because I love breakfast foods and I love sandwiches. So it's like this amazing hybrid thing that can be really amazing.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so often
what does it?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I was thinking about. And that's what I wanted to hear your thoughts.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Everyone.
Yeah. So I feel like I love sandwiches so much that I'm having a hard time narrowing it down. But I feel like you're like, sandwiches are fine.
Me?
Breakfast is fine.
I love sandwiches and breakfast. Yeah. How
but like
dare
you love them?
I love any food that's delicious.
Okay. But if someone was like, you get 3 things to eat, would you pick a sandwich as one of them? Like 3 things ever. Would you be like sandwich?
If somebody said you can only have these 3 things to eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And by 3 things, is that 3 dishes, or is that what categorizes a thing?
Like a meal. Would you be like a good sandwich? And that's it. Because I would.
I think one would probably be tamales with rice and beans.
Uh-huh.
Although I don't know. Maybe tostadas with rice and beans. Because that crunch, so hard to beat.
What if you did tamales with rice, beans, and chips?
Well, so that's where my question is, like, is dessert also part of the meal?
No, dessert's not a part of the meal. It's whatever would be on your plate.
Am I allowed to have?
So, like...
Well, I would and have had dessert on the same plate as my tamales, rice, and beans.
That's true. So. I've seen that. Then in that case, go for it. But...
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just getting into the tiny details of this. So... Okay, so you love sandwiches so much, but you have no idea why you love them or what makes a sandwich good? Okay,
so there are a few things that make a sandwich good, but I'm talking about a breakfast sandwich.
Sure. I mean, I've already started to break it down in my head.
Then go for it.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to go off since you're the expert, apparently. And
I'm not the expert. I'm saying I just love sandwiches. Okay, for me, being on a biscuit. Top of the line. Biscuit is the best. Wrong. But I love it.
For me.
Okay. For me,
going.
biscuits. I love biscuits. Definitely tofu.
I'll see your biscuit and raise you an English muffin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biscuits are better.
No.
Biscuits are better.
Dude, you are so high right now.
No.
Yeah. Biscuits are
the best.
Biscuits are basically like on the lowest on the totem pole of like bread foods.
What?
Yeah.
I could like sit down and eat an entire batch of biscuits to myself.
I could too, but that doesn't mean that they're better than something like an English muffin or like an inch and a half thick slice of sourdough.
So much better.
No.
So, okay, my thing with like thick sourdough is it cuts the roof of my mouth when it's toasted. I don't like that experience. Hey, man. Also, then you're just getting your bread to filling ratio is going to be off unless the sandwich is so big that you can't get everything in your mouth at once and get all the flavors.
Or it's an open face sandwich, and then you can.
Maybe, but if the bread is an inch and a half thick, that's the size of my mouth. Like, it's
not my fault you have a small mouth.
I don't want a mouthful of bread. Anyway, so for me, it would be a biscuit, especially like a homemade one, which if you're looking for a good biscuit recipe, the Minimalist Baker.
If you're looking for a good biscuit recipe, I have bad news for you. It doesn't exist.
It so does. The Minimalist Baker, like best vegan biscuits or whatever, it uses soy milk that you curdle with some apple cider vinegar or lemon juice to make like faux buttermilk biscuits. That is a great biscuit recipe. It is held up very well, and it doesn't have as much sugar as most other biscuit recipes that I have found. I found that a lot of vegan biscuit recipes contain way too much sugar. Anyway, okay, so biscuit. Definitely that good, like, mix. I love the mix of, like, mayo and stone ground mustard on a breakfast sandwich. I think it's just, like, such a perfect balance. Dijon mustard works in a pinch, but stone ground, definitely. I think tofu, so either tofu bacon or that like breaded tofu that I make. But I think because it's that like soft but firm texture.
Do you want to tell people what's in that so that they have some sort of idea?
So I like press firm tofu, and then I like bread it in a mix of flour, whatever herbs I have on hand, and then veg it from Spike Seasoning. That's like the secret ingredient. Veggie is this perfect spice mix. It has other things in it that I just don't buy, like white pepper. Like I don't buy white pepper, but the balance in Veggie is amazing. It's so good on everything. And then I do nutritional yeast in there too. And then I cook it pan fried in butter, not oil. You have to use butter. Oil, it just like the tofu just absorbs the oil and then it's really greasy. But if you do it in butter, the absorption is a little more even, / it doesn't absorb all of it. And it tends to like crisp up the outside a little bit more, whereas the oil doesn't crisp the outside.
So more like an earth balance than just straight up canola oil.
Yeah, totally. And then you throw that on. I also really like...
It is delicious, by the way, what she's talking about.
Yeah, it's super
one
good.
One of my favorite things.
I think we have a recipe video for it up on the Logical Harmony channel.
Yeah.
Or on the blog.
No, it's on... Yeah, no, you're totally right. It's on the Logical Harmony channel from like 4 years ago.
Yeah. When I make things, though, like... Because I try to do recipe stuff here and there. Like I put up like the buffalo cauliflower one. I don't actually measure things when I cook. So when I make it, I'm always just like, nah, this, like I eyeball things. And so I try with the recipes to be as close to what I would eyeball as possible. And then I like a mix of fresh and cooked vegetables. So like fresh tomato, but like cooked spinach or something like that. Just, I like that mix. I also will say, because I love pickles so much, I would not knock pickles in a breakfast sandwich. I know it's a weird way to go, but Greek peppers or pickles, like something pickled or fermented, would be really good. And I think that's about it. Maybe some cheese, but I'm optional on the cheese.
Yeah, my favorite is when you have that pan that was used to cook the tofu.
Yeah.
And then you throw the spinach in there.
Yeah, because it seasons it all nicely. Yeah. That's how you do it.
So good.
Yeah.
I also like that like 32 pounds of fresh spinach makes like a tablespoon of cooked spinach.
Yeah.
It's It's always the funniest thing because the pan is like overflowing with spinach.
Like you can't even put a lid on it. That's how much.
Yeah.
And then it cooks down. It's enough for like 2 sandwiches.
Yeah.
And that too, I let it dry out a little bit because there's nothing worse to me than when you have cooked spinach on a sandwich and you bite into it and all the liquid comes out and then the bread's soggy.
Yuck.
It's gross.
Yuck.
Anyway, so I think that's mine.
Okay.
What about yours?
I don't know that I would necessarily have a specific sandwich itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm talking about just different elements.
Sure. So, like I said before, an English muffin, definitely.
Okay.
An English muffin or some really nice, thick, artisanal sourdough bread.
Is it because of the craters? The bread craters?
No, it's because of the taste and the texture and I should have specified probably a sourdough English muffin specifically too. Although regular English muffin is fine, but now that we've had more sourdough English muffins, I find the thought of a regular English muffin is just sort of like, you know, like regular English muffin.
I'm fancy now.
Pheasants.
That's applesauce for you.
Applesauce is a pheasant?
No, getting
she's
used
the
to the
queen.
finer things in life. The finer things club. She
yeah.
leads that.
Applesauce. Stop biting.
Okay.
Stop it.
So you would do an English muffin or sourdough bread.
Yeah.
I'm really hungry, by the way.
It really depends on what the sandwich is, too, because there's that open face sandwich from Sunnyside Cafe in Napa, which is like a slightly crusted portobello sliced up and then covered in like an, I wouldn't call it necessarily like guacamole, but like
Mashed.
smashed avocado with just all this deliciousness, and I think it had like fresh microgreens and you know, fancy stuff like that.
Fancy Napa stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they can charge you $15 for a piece of toast.
I think that is more than $15. I want to say it's like 18.
I don't know, but I will say Southside is really good. Like there aren't many vegan options there, but what is there is really good.
True.
Like that, the protein bowl, if you do it without the egg or whatever.
And the patio area is really nice to sit down on.
And they have good coffee. It's definitely like, it's pricey, but it's a really great place in Napa to go, especially for breakfast. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, if you're living the life of luxury or want to pretend like you are for one day, it's worth checking out when it's free to move about the cabin once more. Once the seatbelt sign has been turned off, definitely suggest checking it out. I love that tofu that you were mentioning that you make.
I like the struggle to see each other over applesauce right now.
Yeah.
I can just see your hair.
I would say if I had to choose between the bacon and that one, I would choose that one.
Yeah.
The bacon is delightful and delicious.
Yeah.
I just think that it's more of like something that tastes more of like a treat.
Yeah. Yeah.
As where the like baked tofu that you do the other way.
It's more savory.
Yeah, it's more savory. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so solid.
Yeah. I like it too.
Yeah.
And I don't add black salt or anything to it. I don't try and make it eggy. I just try and make it this savory thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I never, like as a kid, I wasn't a giant fan of eggs.
I ate a lot of eggs growing up and I like them, but obviously it's been so long. But I also had a very terrible experience with the follow your heart egg, and I've not attempted to eat a vegan egg or black salt after that.
What was the terrible experience?
Do you really want to know? It's gross.
I know. So how did it start? Because there was something, you had eaten something prior to that egg, right?
I'd eaten something the night before that kind of like upset my stomach.
Right.
And I was like, meh, I'm all right, whatever. And then I was like, I'm going to make us breakfast sandwiches and use the Follow Your Heart vegan egg. And so I did.
We got we had these circular cookie cutters, and they're like maybe 3 inches in diameter. The perfect size
for an English muffin. Yeah. So we did
cooked
that.
those up nice and thick.
Yeah. And I ate it and I was like, oh, this isn't bad.
And did we add black salt to it or no?
No, there's black salt in it though.
Okay, yeah. Because I remember the smell was like, oh, this is some sulfury stuff right here.
And the two things did not play well in my stomach. And I threw up.
Yikes.
And everything about that experience smelled and tasted like black salt. It was the most, I think throwing up made me throw up more because it was so disgusting. And I've not attempted any vegan egg or anything. I've heard the Just Egg is good, but I've just been so that was such a horrifying moment.
And the Just Egg is so expensive too. It's like you have to really want that.
Yeah, you have to really want that. Yeah. And I'm not sure that I do because my experience that time was so horrible. I've not touched anything with black salt. We had black salt in our house. I got rid of it. I just hit the microphone really hard.
I saw and I heard.
Yeah, I got rid of it. I got rid of whatever was left of the Follow Your Heart egg. I couldn't do it. I tried to use it, I think, once more in cooking, and the smell was just no. Yeah. It was done. Anyway, so that's where I prefer the tofu stuff, and I don't add black salt. Ugh, I feel gross just thinking about it.
That's funny.
No, it's not funny. It's terrible.
I think it's funny.
But that was 5 years ago, and I still can't. I can't do it.
Yeah. It's funny to think of throwing up and then being like, oh God, this is so disgusting. And then that making you throw up more.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're throwing up sulfury smells and, oh God.
Yeah.
I feel bad for people listening to this.
Why? They didn't go through it.
They didn't go through it, but it's such a disgusting description that I think if I was listening, I'd be like, oh, my stomach hurts now.
Mine doesn't feel great.
You ready for breakfast? Ready for that tofu bacon?
Yeah, as long as it's not a weird Just Egg sandwich.
No, it's not. It's been marinating overnight. It'll be so good.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I'm so excited.
You just can't hide it.
No, clearly. You can tell. You can see I have applesauce hair in my eyelashes.
Oh, no. What's that aioli or whatever that you put on these sandwiches?
So it's vegan mayo.
It's so good.
With a ton of fresh garlic.
Yeah.
And then parsley. Preferably fresh, but dried works too. And that's it. And you just mix it up.
It's so good.
Yeah, I don't thin it out. You could if you wanted it to be more saucy. But I figure if there's any left, it's a good base for ranch or something like that. So I don't really worry about it too much.
And there's usually not any left.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't have any for our ones today.
You make it so garlicky.
So garlicky. When I did it last night, I think I used maybe a 1/4 cup of mayo. You don't want a ton.
No.
But I did 3 cloves of garlic.
Yeah, it's really more of a carrier for the other ingredients.
Yeah, and I got that idea from when we did sponsored content with Purple Carrot a couple of years ago. They had a portobello BLT recipe, which is also super good.
That was so good.
Just portobellos are kind of expensive, and they put the aioli on it. So I started putting it on the breakfast sandwich because the combination of the garlicky savory with the smoky sweet is really good.
It's so good.
But we don't have mayo today. I might add some to the. Maybe I'll do mustard. Yeah, we're out of mayonnaise. We used it all last night.
Could work, I guess.
Maybe I'll add some garlic to the mustard. That sounds weird, though.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
Yeah. The Tashina made it so garlicky last night and this morning. I mean, and when I brushed my teeth last night, I brushed the roof of my mouth. I brushed the tongue. I went all over my mouth trying to get the garlickiness out of it. And then when I woke up this morning, my mouth still tasted so disgusting.
I use a lot of garlic in cooking in general.
It's worth it at the time, but then you wake up and you're just like, oh, it tastes like something died in my mouth.
Ew. It's a terrible description.
Well, here we are. It's the only one I got.
Perfect. Okay.
What else do you have on that fancy list of yours?
I had... Okay, the other things I have are completely unrelated to anything we've talked about this episode.
Well, are any of them cool?
I think so, but I don't know. Okay, so one, which I actually mentioned to you last night, was that I saw on Twitter that Tyler Perry, the movie person... Okay, I have to admit, I don't know much about them. I don't know if they're a good person or a bad person or any of those things. They did...
You just know that they're known for being a movie person.
Yeah, I know they make movies. I don't know if they write them. I don't really know anything about Tyler Perry. But I saw on Twitter that the other day I think it was in Atlanta where they live, a couple grocery stores, are doing dedicated hours for seniors and for high-risk people. And then on one day, Tyler Perry bought a bunch of people's groceries for them. And I thought that was really amazing.
The old people.
Yeah, the old people and the high-risk people. And I thought that was super amazing. Because that was probably, I assume if you've made as many movies as Tyler Perry has, you have a lot of money.
If you're an established movie person as Tyler Perry. Yeah.
But I just felt like, compared to... The sentiment of singing Imagine was nice and all, but this is great to see.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's really
I know
nice.
that Lady Gaga did a big donation of medical stuff. I don't know if it was money towards medical facilities. I'm not super clear on that one. But what stood out to me about this one is that there was photos of the reactions of people being told cool. It's taken care of. And just seeing people's faces was that was amazing and really touching.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do more to I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. I wish we heard more about these positive things. I know things are tough right now and it's important to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I wish things like this were highlighted more because I think we all need as much uplifting news as we can get.
Totally.
And I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten to the point personally where I'm pretty much not consuming news because I'm okay, I know enough about the trajectory of this situation. It's only going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
We still don't have a statewide lockdown in Utah. Anyway, my point is... My point is just that I'm I can't even pay attention to this stuff because there's no good news, like you said.
Yeah. It's so hard to find.
So, yeah, I agree with you. Gary Vee would say I don't know if he has it on a sweater or something, but he always puts it up places and it's make positivity louder.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we need to do right now. So if you're listening or watching...
Thank you, Tyler Perry.
Yes.
For helping us do that.
Yeah. If you're listening or watching and you've heard some amazing bit of news, share it.
Yeah, share it. Maybe post a link.
Yeah, because I want to talk about that stuff more often.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I check Twitter news a few times a day and the majority of what I see is terrible. And so when I do see those little things, I'm like, oh, I want to read more about this. I want to see this. This is something I want to really consume right now.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, I'm not familiar with Tyler Perry. I don't know. But I was just this act of goodness is so amazing. And I'm sure there's so many others going on right now that aren't from celebrities. So we're not hearing about them. I feel like we only really hear about the ones from celebrities.
Yeah.
But still, I think it's good to bring those to light and talk about them and focus on those right now.
Absolutely.
I think we need to do that more.
I completely agree.
So I'm going to be looking for more of those and finding more to share throughout different episodes.
Sweet.
As I find them. Applesauces too, huh? Applesauce? Nothing. I'm shocked.
I'm not.
Really? She did get a piece of fur on it. I'll put that back on you.
Well, Well, this seems like as good a time as any to wrap it up.
Yep. Let's do it. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening, for watching. Thanks for sharing a bit of your day with us.
Love you.
Yeah, love you. We'll see you later.